What followed for the jury verdict in the Rodney King case was a tragic series of events for the city of Los Angeles.
I can see the light on the other side. Everything's gonna be just fine with a little more time.
All right, it's my pleasure. Let's give it up for the writer-director, Justin Chon. Come back here, producer, James.
James.
Anybody else here?
My whole cast.
Oh, let's bring them up, please. Come on out.
Simone, are you here? Yeah, she watched the movie again.
Let's get right to it. Let's hear directly from the audience. Just raise your hands and we'll take it away. Yes, right here.
Why black and white?
I felt like black and white just automatically takes to a different period, and I felt like I didn't want people to be focusing on is this period correct or being like, because I don't want like the first 10-15 minutes to have to get used to that. If it's black and white, automatically right away, you know, you don't feel like it's 2017. So that was the reason for it.
Next.
Don't be shy.
Yes, right here.
Who's the inspiration for the character of the shop owner? Mr. Kim, yes.
Mr. Kim, that's my dad in real life.
The actual actor is his real father.
Yeah, the actual actor's my dad. Yeah, he was here. He was here for the yesterday, but he left because he hates me.
What was it like working with your dad? And I mean, were you writing this character with your dad in mind?
Yeah, so I always wanted my dad to play him. It's just that my dad was a child actor in Korea. He was like the Macaulay Culkin of South Korea of the 60s. And he hasn't acted in 40 years. He stopped acting when he was early 20s. He's, in his 60s now, and I wrote it with him in mind, but it took me 3-4 months to convince him. My dad wears a toupee, he's bald. And when I was talking, so what do I gotta do? I'm like, first of all, you gotta take that fucking toupee off your head. And he was like, why would I do that? And I was like, you got it, and it slowly wore him down, and he ended up, and then he had all these stipulations. He's like, no night shoots. I'm like, half the film is at night. But it was great, being Asian and Asian American. I was just talking to, to Tari outside and James. My dad is pretty tough and treats, like, he just wanted to raise me as a man. So, like, whatever that means, but he treats me like I'm a subordinate. But then when he got on set, he was very professional, and it was really interesting to see his process actually as an actor, not as a dad. And he actually respected my notes, and so it was good.
All the way at the top, yes?
Were you around for the riots?
So I was 11 when the riots happened. I had an interesting upbringing where, this is the case with a lot of immigrants and families, is we lived in a suburb, a nice suburb, but he commuted to East Compton every day to work. So, I grew up working at a store, being a box boy and all that, and I grew up, so I led like a double life, also being ethnic. Like, I was born in Garden Grove, and you just hang out with your community, and your community consists of all socioeconomic, people. So, the long answer is yes. I'm a LA, Southern California native.
Very cool.
Yeah, and being 11, it was weird, because you don't think of the ill intentions of people. You're just like, wow, is this happening? And you have thoughts of, like, you don't think of your parents' safety or anything. You just think, oh man, does this mean we gotta move, or what does that mean for us? So it was really interesting experiencing as a child.
Right here in the front.
Okay, so emotionally, this was a roller coaster. And I'm right in the front row, so I'm feeling it times 10, I think. So, excuse me. But for the actors, can you talk to us a little bit about what was the hardest scene for you in this film? There's so many hard stories, especially for your character at the end, was heartbreaking. That, you know, going through that situation. So I'm sorry, I'm processing stuff. So can you talk about that?
Well, the hardest scene for me was probably when I was back in the house with my brother and my sister, and we got into the fight because he found out. It was hard. That scene was kind of hard for me because he had to really think about what was happening. I was just looking back at things, and I was just trying to feel like, what if my mom was dead, and what if I was actually in this situation?
Can I just say something about that scene? So we went to lunch, and I knew she was gonna have to shoot that, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to, get her emotionally ready. And I was like, where's Simone? Where's Simone? I couldn't find her. And she was in the room she was gonna do the scene by herself with the lights off, with the picture of her mother emotionally preparing. I didn't tell her to do that. So I was like, okay, keep doing whatever you're doing, just close the door.
I'm traditionally a stand-up comedian, so this is actually my first time acting in a feature. So that's all, Justin. The hardest part for me was that I don't know if you guys noticed, I was barefoot throughout. Walking in Compton, there's needles, there's staplers, there's everything. And then, the only thing I could think of was, and by the way, if you notice, I got my ass beat multiple times throughout the film. So, the movie's actually called Daniel's Worst Day. And, in my mind, I was like, dude, I'm gonna make a film. It's just gonna be called Justin on Lava Rocks. Featuring Justin Chon. But for me, it was very difficult just kind of tapping into something that's not normally a part of my character. So I'm so used to, obviously you guys saw that I added a lot of, comedy into it, but the emotional scenes that I had with Justin, that was something that was very intense, and I didn't realize, especially being an actor, how it affects your psyche, just kind of getting into character. You guys won't know this, but I got so angry on set for no fucking reason. I broke a chair. I don't know why. I broke the chair. I was like, what am I doing? I was like, you don't do this. You're a comedian. And I just broke a chair. I punched the wall, and I sat down. And I was like, I can't use my hand now. This is stupid. But yeah, it was a challenge, and it's a blessing to be on a film, and we're in Sundance, so it's amazing.
Hardest scene, share Simone. That scene was crazy because I was there every day, and for me, I was just having a blast doing it, man. It was weird because we would go into all these emotional, heavy scenes, but then after it was cut, we were just big family joking around all the time, constantly. I thought people wanted to kill me because I was just joking too much. But for that scene, Justin was good. He allowed us to do a lot of takes with stuff, and I wanted that. I definitely wanted that. But with that scene, I had to make it clear that I couldn't do that many scenes. I couldn't do that many takes of that one because I found myself getting lost in it, and it was scary as hell. And it broke my heart afterwards in a way, in a good way and a bad way. When Simone came to me afterwards, she was like, yo, you scared me. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what the hell, man? So that one was hard. I said, look, guys, we have to get this. We were trying to do a oneer, so we had to get everything perfect and right. It took us a little while to get it together. I was getting frustrated. It's not even in my character, like me as a person to be frustrated with how the production works, but I was getting frustrated with stuff. I wanted stuff to just be right, because I know I couldn't stay in there for too long, or else I was gonna be just jacked up for a while. So yeah, that was the hardest one, for sure.
More questions? At the very, very top, yes?
Justin, proud of you, man. The film's phenomenal.
Jay Khan, this is my brother. He's also a director, and I've known him. I was in all of his shorts early on. Thanks for coming, man.
Thanks, buddy. I just wanted to ask you, so you've been in a lot of movies, so what did you take from the different movies you've been in, that, as a director, that you put into it, and talk about starring in a movie? What's that like, having to direct it and star in it?
So that's what's cool about being an actor is I've been on so many sets, and I've kind of seen what I like, certain directors do and what I don't like. So I've been able to kind of taste a lot of styles of different directors. So that's a huge takeaway, being an actor. And I'd like to think I'm an actor's director. So I really, try to protect and service my actors. And what was the other part of the question?
Oh, just directing yourself.
Oh, directing myself sucks. That's why we did a ton of rehearsal beforehand. I didn't want to have a bunch of surprises on the day. So, by the way, I found Simone at a community art center in South Central, the Fernando Plum Art Center, and they were kind enough to open up their center for me, and I did all my rehearsals there. And we spent a lot of time together rehearsing. I was teaching her how to skateboard, and then with David, I'd go over to his house and we kind of pre-block a bunch of stuff. But it's not ideal to have to direct yourself, but I just didn't want to leave it to somebody else, But I don't know if I want to do that again.
In the red, yes?
First, I had a comment and a question. First, very beautiful, the depiction of the hood, those themes that you touched on, with family, you touched struck a real chord on all fronts with everybody's families, and those situations that people are forced to grow up and grow up really fast. That hit me real deep, man. That's some other stuff.
Thank you.
I'm just curious too, where you draw a lot of your inspiration. It doesn't even just have to be film. What inspired you? What inspired not just your directors and writers, but literally what?
Yeah, absolutely. I watch a ton of documentaries because you can't fake real life. So I love documentaries. I don't know. I surf a lot. And there's a lot to be, learned from surfing. You can't force things. Every wave is different. I mean, this is like some hippie shit. That, and just people, man. That's the fortunate thing I get to do as an actor. I get to travel everywhere and meet so many different people, and people just stick with you. You go through life and you meet interesting people, and I love people, so that's definitely a huge inspiration for me.
Last question.
Okay, right here in the front.
How many days did you shoot and how'd you finance it?
Financing was really difficult, and this is where I'd like to kind of challenge, at least my community. We really need to support artists,
God spoke. God spoke. They don't want to support us, but I think it's really important that we support local artists and especially ethnic artists because I feel like that's the fastest way to make any change is through creation. On a technical level, the shoot was, I think, 22 official days, and that's because we had Simone, we had child labor laws that we had to follow. So a lot of days we would only be able to shoot half a day, and the financing came from a lot of individual private donors.
Yeah, Kickstarter.
And then we had a Kickstarter campaign that we launched right after we wrapped, and that was a success as well. And that's when the community actually did come to our support and helped us with finishing funds.
Thank you guys. Now listen, sorry, this is obviously not something we expected. What we're going to do is we're going to have you keep your seats, bring the film team out this way. If you guys could all come out this way, my usher has a flashlight. If everyone else could keep their seats. I think
Thanks, guys.
Hey, great job.
Thank you so much. I have to get in this thing. Come to Main Street.
You're welcome. Amazing. This is incredible. Thanks for the opportunity.
Hey, Justin, what just happened in there? The Q&A, what happened in there?
Oh, Q&A went great.
Yeah, at the end.
Oh, the power went out. Power for the whole mall.
So I'm with Rope TV. So for those who don't know, where can they find the movie?
We have a screening Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, so please come out.
Twitter?
Come support. Just follow Justin Chon or Gook Film. All right, thank you.